All right, you've connected to Wi-Fi. The password's BODITR @K, and you're going to stand on the pressure mat. Let it count down. Take a swing. We're going to do a few swings here. You're going to note the peak velocity in this swing is 143. The ankles, the toes are the brakes, the heels are the accelerators, the ankles are the shock absorbers and propulsion system. That's the premise. The top three pressure flaws I'm going to illustrate here. Too much pressure in the toes. Old guys like me don't get pressure to the lead side quick enough. And young guys seem to back up a lot. And as you can see at impact here, not nearly enough pressure to the lead side. Peak velocity there is 143. Max vertical force was 1.84. Now we're going to reswing. We'll get into the graph shortly. So get back on, take a swing. A little bit more lateral. You're going to see that peak velocity increase to 189. It's right there under peak velocity. And you'll see the vertical forces increase slightly a little bit too. Faster you move, the harder you got to brake. And you can see the timing's a little bit better. Again, not enough pressure to the lead side early enough. Get off the mat, save it, go back, let's replay it. I'm primarily focused on the trace. We're going to get to the graph shortly. Now this one I'm going to rotate. And you can see the peak velocity goes down because the two types of golfers that there are, there's really lateral and rotational, and there's a combination of both. We all use a combination of both, but some will be dominant. Now this is the graph, the velocity graph, shown full tilt before setting impact. And you can see how it's got all those jagged lines in it. This measures lateral speed and heel to toe speed. The orange line's the heel to toe speed. And that's important for when you want to find out if the golfer's clearing adequately at impact. Now we're going to set impact here shortly in this one or the next one. But you can see, there you go, I've set impact. Now you can see how the graphs become much more easier to read. When you set impact, it's 1.5 seconds prior to impact. That red line's impact and 0.5 after. And it indicates left, right, and total. Now we're going to do one heavy rotational swing coming up. And you'll see that the peak velocity slows down. Some companies call this horizontal forces. If you would take a horizontal force graph and match it up to the velocity chart, it'll be verbatim. This is a lot of rotation for me, and you're going to see the peak velocity go down. It's only 81. So heavy rotational golfers don't move laterally much. It's hard to stabilize that lead hip when you're rotating awfully fast. But great players can do it. Toes are the brakes, heels accelerators, ankles are the shock absorber and propulsion system. Now on this one we're doing a step drill. And you're going to see those lateral speed go way up to 240. And also too, because I'm going so fast laterally, I'm braking really hard on the lead side and the force factor goes way up. And that's just logical. Now we're going to go into some of the graphs here shortly with a real swing. But this step drill probably takes care of 70% of the ailments in the world. It gets pressure to the lead side quickly. It forces you not to back up. And it really creates a strong brake on the lead side. Where on your foot, we can talk about that later. But I do get pressure to the lead side earlier. I get more pressure to the lead side at impact. You can see that. It's very visible. So I set this up. Now you notice that's not impact. It's not been set yet. But that was one peak up, one peak down, which I really like. You don't want to have multiple peaks because that means you're slowing down, speeding up, slowing down. All right, so this is a real swing. All right, so we'll go into that. So this is a typical fishhook trace, force factor of 7, peak velocity 135. Vertical forces, we'll see that in a second here. You can see the vertical force under. This is why we cleaned up this user interface so well. Max vertical pressure on the trail side will occur when the lead arm is parallel to the ground on the way back, and when the lead arm is parallel to the ground on the way down, that should be max vertical pressure on the lead side. As you can see, I'm too late here generating my peak vertical pressure in and around almost impact around 1.96. What's really good here is you can see where that white peak is, that total, it's late. My left is the red line, but I'm too late there. My max vertical pressure on my left side should be when my lead arm is parallel to the ground, not near impact. This is the velocity chart, and what it shows you is when you stop at that peak and that white line there, when you right there in and around, When you stop, that's when I begin my rotational sequence. So it's kind of like helps us understand the kinematic sequence. It does help us understand the kinematic sequence. And I'm rotating too late, which is typical of an older guy. I'm not getting my pressure to the lead side quick enough. For me, everybody's different, but the traces don't lie. So in this case, you can see that peak velocity, which is the same thing as a horizontal chart, horizontal force chart in Swing Catalyst and others. They'll be verbatim. Now this is the vertical forces, and there's my peak velocity 136, and it's showing my vertical force at 1.73, 1.96, and as I get the impact, it's probably going to be right around there. Now there's the velocity chart. So I've stopped moving forward, and I rotated at that peak. This is the vertical forces, again, left and right. Now you'll notice I actually push down harder after impact. That happens quite a bit. That'll be quite common. Now we're going to keep going here. You can see the top three pressure flaws. Too much pressure in the toes. Don't get pressure to the lead side quick enough. But I don't have backup, so that's not a problem. But we're going to do it again. Now this is going to be the step drill, and we're going to show you the what the buttons mean. Now that's a step drill. So then I'm going to do it again. We're going to set impact, I believe, here. Nice left arm, huh? But you're going to see much more lateral speed, velocity. I'm messing with it right now just so you can see it. Those forces are changing. 240 peak velocity, that's the horizontal speed. Now I'm going to set impact. There it goes. Cleans it up. Slid through it. The white line hits the baseline post impact. And then the very low vertical forces, which is very typical of a lateral golfer, which is what that was. That shot's a lateral shot. Now I'm messing with the feet. I'm hitting the button below the impact teardrop. And then I'm hitting the arrow so you can and then you can add comments. So those buttons on the left scroll bar, the one sets impact, then one makes it left or right, and then one flips it up and down, toes up, toes down, and then you can make notes. So that's really a cool thing. So you're going to see this lateral trace, but fairly high forces. If I was swinging that fast with the golf club in my hand, I'd be somewhere between a 7 and a 10. And to do this properly would set impact. That swing would have been a 10, legitimately. We'll keep on going. We're just about done. But I want to give you some background here because there's nothing here on the screen that you can mess up or you hit those buttons wrong. It's okay, but I like it toes up. I've seen a lot. V1's been doing it toes down a lot. Medical guys use it mostly toes down. And this is the vertical chart. And you can see left is the red and blue is the right and white is the total. That's it. Terry Hashimoto. Thanks.